Hey everyone, my name is B. Troford Wilson, photographer and educator, and today we're going to dive into retouching fitness portraits with melanin-rich skin using Evoto.AI. One of the biggest challenges in portrait editing is preserving the richness and depth and beauty in darker skin tones, especially when you're working with strong highlights, muscle definition, and high contrast lighting. In this video, I'll walk you through retouching a recent fitness photo shoot, showing how I use Evoto's AI skin retouching and color grading to enhance, not erase, the melanin. All right, so here's the raw files that I'm working with. This is from a recent fitness shoot with the fitness model. We use, as you guys can see, we shot in studio and we use color gels along with fog and water. Now, whenever it comes to retouching photos, especially when it uses color gels, you may have some hesitation when you're using Evoto software, but I'm going to show you how we didn't have any hiccups with that. So don't just jump right into the skin retouching. Do your color adjustments first. Knowing that we use color gels, I actually do want to play around a little bit with the color grading just to be able to get nice rich colors within his skin tone as well as the background. So I'm going to actually go down to HSL. And I'm going to go over to the blues. So I already like the hue of the blue. The saturation looks great as well, but let's see what happens when we raise up that saturation a bit. Nice. And I'm also going to raise up the luminance just to be able to bring some more of the blue out within the background. And now we can even see more of those water droplets now that we raised up the luminance in the blue. And of course, I always do the before and after. That's nice. Perfect. I'm going to drop the luminance down a hair just because I still want to be able to see more of that vibrance of the blue within his skin tone. There we go. Now I'm going to go to the saturation. That looks good. Now if I want to change up the hue of it, this is what it would look like. So if you want to go for more of a teal color, you can do that with the blue. We can even make it more purple, but I'm going to keep it right where it was. Perfect. All right. So now I'm going to go into the color grading. I do want to be able to bring in some more of the color within the highlights and also his midtones and shadows. So before I even do that, I'm going to go back to our basic. And I'm just going to drop the highlights a little bit on the chest. As you can see now, it's getting a little bit more richer. It's not too bright within the chest. I'm also going to drop down the shadows because I want, of course, whenever you're working with a fitness model, they do have the muscles, but being able to enhance the highlights and the shadows make it look more defined. I'm also going to bring up our contrast. And that looks good. Bring up our highlights just slightly. So this looks like a good starting point. I'm going to go into our color grading. Nice. The highlights. I do want the highlights to have like a little bit more red for his skin. Just the hair. There we go. That looks nice and rich. I'm just going to bring the reds down just a bit. There we go, perfect. All right, so I like where this is. I love the way that the colors look on the background. I love the way that his skin looks. So now we can go into our skin retouching. So we're gonna start at the face. So I definitely wanna do some of that sculpt. Now just go up to blemish removal. We're gonna do the freckles and acne. Nice. And you always want to do that before and after. So we see how it's softened up the acne that was on his face. We're going to reduce a little bit of that face shine. Do some with the eye bags. Perfect. All right, so neck wrinkles. Just going to soften those a bit. body blemishes. Perfect. All right, so now we're going to go into our skin retouching. So again, we're going to do that. We did the sculpt for the dodge and burn already. Definitely want to keep that textured smoothing. Now we're going to go to the body skin. We're going to do some skin softening. Nice. We do the dodge and burn to even. I'm going to drop that down a bit. I'm also going to drop the skin softening down. Perfect. I don't mind seeing like the scars or any of the blemishes on his body because you still want them to look nice and strong and you still want them to still be true to themselves. All right. So now I'm going to go down to the skin texture. And you know, we need the texture. We love the texture, so I'm going to raise up the texture. And I'm also going to raise up the clarity. So as you can see, now we can see much more of that texture. We're seeing more of the texture within the skin, texture in the abs. You can see like in the pores of the abs, even on the arms. And you can see we're not getting any of that craziness that's happening sometimes whenever you're skin retouching with color gels. It's still looking nice and natural, and it's still being able to read it and smooth it in Evoto. Now here's a cool feature. It has the select skin tone. So as we can see, we do have some highlights that's happening and brightening up his chest. Now we can even play around with this select skin tone. So as you can see, now that I've selected this one, the whole image just had like this nice richness of the skin. And we could even lower how much it is. So if we go back to 0, and then if we bring it up, you can see how we just start getting how you can get that richer tone. So it's kind of like pulling up the saturation. So it's kind of like pulling up the saturation within the melanin skin. Perfect. I actually like how this is looking. Now, I don't utilize this tool, but I really think that it's cool to show the facial reshape. So as you can see, he's nice looking away from the camera, but you can actually adjust his head tilt up and down using this filter. You could also turn his face more left or more right. It's pretty cool. You can even do some more adjustments to like the eyes, the eyebrows, nose, mouth, but of course I don't really get into those things, but it's just cool to see that they have the tools to be able to do that. All right, I'm gonna go into the eyes. And because we're coming from like this nice overhead light, we are getting some darkness within the eye. So I do want to raise up the brightness in his eyes. That's nice. Soften out some of the hand veins. So if I zoom in, look how smooth his skin looks, how rich the eyes look. You're able to remove the blemishes and how rich the skin tone looks. And as you can see, even while we're scrolling, you can still see the texture within the skin. You can still see the definition of the muscles. And even with the color gels on the skin, we're still able to get the nice retouch that we want. So if we do a before and after. Perfect. Do it again on the face. And there you go. Because we shot all this in the same settings, we can literally just sync this to all the other images. All right, so there we have this one. And here's another one where we just took the same settings from the water, but with the fog. So that's how I use Evoto.AI to retouch finished portraits with melanin-rich skin, keeping the edits natural, keeping the color rich, and keeping the athlete strong. So if you're working with athletes, models, or creatives of color, this is the perfect tool to use when retouching your photos. Thanks for watching. I hope that this video was helpful. Be on the lookout for the next video.